Hello, Wredling families. My name is Tim Loversky, and I'm the principal of Wredling Middle School. I am glad to get to know our sixth graders. Really, at this point, glad that you get to know me, and sad that I don't get to know you yet. So by this time, we would have had our sixth grade visits here at Wredling. We would have had a parent night. We'd be planning for a bunch of summer activities. But this is an unusual year, and we're all adaptable and flexible. So it's going to be a little different. But I want to welcome you to Wredling. I want to let you know that our presentation tonight is going to be presented as if it were a normal start to the school year, if it were a normal school year, and that is certainly our hope. So just so you know that, we're not going to address anything in terms of social distancing, what we might do if we still have coronavirus in the fall. We're just going to present as if it were a normal school year, so you get to know what our school's like. So first of all, I want you to introduce our administrators to you and our support staff. I'm going to give you some understanding of middle school here at Wredling, give you a picture of your school day here at Wredling, identified ways that you can be involved at Wredling, both students and parents, and our goal is to increase comfort level, knowing that you can't be in the building right now. So here's our administrative staff. We have myself, we have Mrs. Daig, who's an assistant principal, Mrs. Lidman, who's an assistant principal, and Dr. McGuire, whose name, I'm sorry, oh, hold on, you're not going to be able to see his name. It's over there somewhere. Oh, that guy right there. That's Dr. McGuire as well. He is one of our assistant principals. So let's see. So we are a school community based on putting kids first. I view it so important that if we don't put kids first in a school community, we're obviously in trouble. So we put kids first in every decision we make, from the budget to discipline to scheduling to everything we do. We talk about how does this impact kids in their lives. Second, we build a community based on collaboration and trust. We work together. It's very rare that I make a decision where I haven't collaborated with a team or a group of teachers or some parents. We want collaboration, and with that collaboration comes trust. How do we trust each other and listen to each other and acknowledge that we're each doing the best for our kids here at Wredling? We want to be consistency. Kids thrive on consistency. So we want to be as consistent as possible. We build in good routines. We want to keep those as stable as possible. So consistency is important. And then high levels of learning for all students. We meet your kids where they're at, and we're going to push them. There's right there, there's a specific level that's called the frustration level. We want to be just below that level so that kids are growing. Growing doesn't happen with comfort. Growing happens with a little bit of discomfort. That's how growth happens. So we're going to work on high levels of learning for all students. So we follow our guidelines for success here at Wredling. Every student knows these. Every student, for the most part, can respond to these. It's I can be responsible, respectful, positive, honest, kind, and I can persevere. Those are things that we really value, and we worked on those over the past couple of years with our students and our families to really pare down what are those critical attributes of a student that will help them be successful at Wredling and just in life. So if you can be responsible, respectful, positive, honest, kind, and you can persevere, you have a pretty good life ahead of you. So one thing about middle school and school in general is a time to make mistakes. We expect mistakes and they're okay. But we also want parents to know that and kids to know that there are consequences to those mistakes. So adolescence, and that's from about 11 through about 14, 15, adolescence brings many things. It brings some changes in behavior. Kids all of a sudden may start to challenge authority a bit. You may be saying that at home, or if not, you may. Challenge changes in grades. You may see a little bit of drama in their lives that you haven't seen before. You may see some lying to cover one's actions, which is never okay. Attempts to impress friends or drug and alcohol or vaping use. That's something that we deal with seriously here at Wredling. And we work with our kids and our staff and our parents to not only prevent and to educate, but we make sure that there is more education if something happens. So what kind of consequences may you see here at Wredling? Well, you might see a lunch or after school detention for a minor infraction. You may see in-building or out-of-school suspension for bigger infractions. You might have a loss of privileges. If somebody on a sports team does something or a club, they may not be able to attend for a bit, or they may lose a locker because they're not using it appropriately. We also may refer students to the St. Charles Police Department. We have a school resource officer here at Wredling, and that resource officer does help us and guide us with some of our more challenging issues, but also a lot of prevention and coaching kids and working with kids. Officer Anson's a great guy to support us in that venture. So here's a little bit about my philosophy. So I want school to be a safe zone. We want kids to feel safe and comfortable here at school. So that means teachers welcoming at the door. That means making sure that kids are treating each other respectfully. It's working on making sure that we don't have bullying. So we want to make sure that school's safe. We also want to make sure that school's fun. School is not supposed to be 7 hours of a drag. It's not. It's supposed to be fun, not all the time, but school should be pleasurable to come to. And if it's not, we need to know so we can help your child out. And then school should be challenging. We talked a little bit about that growth through challenge. We want to make sure kids are challenged. And then finally, self-advocacy. We want to turn our kids into strong self-advocates. In elementary school, we advocated for them as parents. In middle school, we start to work with them on being self-advocates. So we expect kids to email the teacher instead of the parent. We expect kids to email one of our staff members, an assistant principal, or a counselor when they need some support, and some of the parents. We know the parents are working behind the scenes in making some of that happen, but this is really a great time for kids to build that advocacy skill. So safe place, fun at school, challenging, and kids being self-advocate. Those are 4 things we want to work on here at Wredling. So what is middle school? Well, it can be different things in different places. So this is our middle school in St. Charles. It's grades 6, 7, 8. It's certainly a transitional time in the lives of students. We have kids who are 4 feet tall, and we have kids who are 6'4". So we have some pretty big differences here. There's more growth in middle school and in adolescence, about the same amount of growth as a child sees from birth through about 2. So huge amounts of growth. We have schools within a school, which are teams. We try to create these small learning environments, which are teams here at Wredling. So we have our teams are named, we don't name them at all cleverly. They're 6-1, 6-2, 6-3, 6-4. Same thing for 7th. This year in 8th grade, we have 5 teams, a little bit different. But we try to create small learning communities. We have an interdisciplinary approach. So we want our math teacher to be working on reading skills, our social studies teacher to be working on writing skills, our science to be working on math skills. We kind of work on some interdisciplinary approach so kids are well-rounded. We have great student support, and I'll go through that a little bit later, not only through clubs and activities, but through the staff here at Wredling. So it's a great time when we know we need to layer some support on with students as they're becoming young adults. And moving through adolescence. We have great exploratory programs. We want middle school to be a time when kids explore lots of different things. So they're exploring new content, certainly in our core areas, but they're exploring maybe an art class they haven't taken before, or they're taking a woods class, or drama, or band, or choir. I mean, there's all sorts of great opportunity for kids to explore here at Wredling. And then also in our clubs and activities. If they can't take an art class, we have an art club. So tons of great chances. And then our school day goes from 8:25 to 3:30. We start announcements at 8:25 a.m. and we end our day at 3:30. So that is our school day. So the middle school day, you can see some pictures there that we meet kids at the bus in the morning. Our kids have fun during the school day. We have band, orchestra, choir. They practice all over the building, especially just before a concert. They're all over practicing. We have a great music department. We have kids who work on reading and writing collaboratively. They create presentations, use green screens, do science experiments, all sorts of stuff during their school day. So our 6th grade teams, so we have 4 teams again, 6-1, 6-2, 6-3, and 6-4. Each of those teams has a team leader. So the team leader is the person who you as a parent will reach out to if your child is having a struggle or you need some just information about the team or a field trip. So the team leader on each team is the one who kind of supports and leads that group of teachers, usually 4 teachers. We often have a special education teacher on every team. We don't have one team that is just special ed and one team that is not. They go throughout. We have support from each, from a grade level counselor. So 6th, 7th, and 8th each have their own counselor who they work with. We have 110 to 115 students per team. Really, that's about 25 to 27 kids per class times 4 teachers. And then we don't track or level. Our teams are heterogeneous, and there's no significance in the team number. 6-1 is not smarter than 6-4. That's just not the way we do it. It's pretty random. We hit a button on the computer and it schedules kids. So student support services, if you look at this list of people, and I'm not going to go through this whole list of people, you see on here that we have a principal, counselors, student assistance counselor who works with drug and alcohol issues. We have a social worker, psychologist. We are hiring a student support specialist that we don't have in there yet. speech and language people. We have nurses. We do look like we have more nurses than most other schools, which is true. We have some specialty programs in our building that do require us to have some additional nursing care. We have our student resource officer, Officer Anson, some dean's assistants. Those are really our people who support and help in the hallway. We have a student support coordinator. You might be wondering what that is. That's kind of close to a dean's role, but it's more supportive of students in terms of just the disciplinary role. But the student support coordinator will be an administrative position. We have our assistant principals, and we have a couple of reading specialists in the building as well who help kids with reading. So our counselors, some of you say, what do our counselors do? Well, they work with students and families and teachers to support students. We make sure that they are there for kids when they need them. They're very busy in middle school because it's certainly different than elementary as kids are exploring new emotions and feelings and all sorts of things. They assist with both academic and personal goals. So if a child is struggling in a core area or just struggling in school in general, or they're having some personal goals, everything ranging from hygiene to some friend drama to some social media issues. They'll help with that. They'll provide individual and group counseling, but please note that this is not the same as going to see a therapist or a counselor outside of school. This is a different level of school counseling. So many parents ask, can the child go to counseling? Well, that's really done outside of school, although we have counselors here. So just so you know, one is therapeutic and one is school counseling. Two different roles. They help students resolve personal and social conflicts, provide resources to parents on tutoring and community services, and then monitor student progress through the middle school. So that counselor will travel with your child generally from grade to grade to be able to support them. So here's what a schedule looks like in the day of a life of a student. They may start their day with a social studies class, go on to math, go to an explore class, and we'll talk about those in a little bit. This child's schedule had band on it. You're going to see something on there called T/lunch. Well, kids during a full period go to tutorial and then lunch, or lunch then tutorial. Tutorial is a period for teachers to connect with kids. They can do anything from do a social emotional learning activity to a student may need some additional support in math and they may go see the math teacher. Our tutorial is still a work in progress. It was new last year, but it's getting better and better. It is not a time just to do homework. That is not our goal, though sometimes kids may have the opportunity to do that. We have science, language arts, then another explore class, and physical education. One thing to note is that this right here is not your child's schedule. This is just a sample schedule that I created. So 4 core classes. So what you're going to see is the traditional 4 core classes: literacy, or which is often called ELA, English Language Arts, math, science, and social studies. Those are the 4 cores really across the United States. Those are what we do. Then our kids have 2 explore classes and a PE health. And then, of course, they have the lunch tutorial, which I just explained. So 4 literacy, 2 explore, a PE health, and then the lunch tutorial. That makes, we call it an 8-period day because the lunch and tutorial, we don't really count as a period. So wellness, our wellness department is absolutely amazing here at Wredling, and they do 2 subjects, PE and health, which we call wellness. So you're going to notice that we do have, most of our classes are 9 weeks or a quarter, except for PE. PE is, health. Health is 6 weeks. So we'll go to health for 6 weeks, then back into PE class. There may or may not have that same PE teacher for the rest of those 3 weeks, but they may. During the health, they do drug education. We work on social interaction, growth and development. How do we become physical and healthy? We talk about the endocrine system. We deal with Aaron's Law. We talk about abstinence education, and we deal with nutrition as well. That's all part of our whole wellness program. So our 6th grade Explore. So if your child is signed up for Explore, there's a couple different things that may happen. First of all, our pathways is they may choose that very top one that you can see in bold called Exploring College and Career Pathways. That's a year-long course that replaces applied study skills. We no longer have applied study skills for those of you who had students who were here in the past. We don't have that class. We have Exploring College Career Pathways. A year long, it's really going to look at all sorts of ways to get to college, try different careers, look at internships and how to become a plumber or an electrician, all sorts of different things. Many of our kids will simply go through a rotation, which includes service learning, PLTW, which stands for Project Lead the Way, Green Architecture, PLTW, Computer Science for Innovators and Makers, and Art. They'll cycle through those four. Now, some kids may go to band, orchestra, or choir, or a combination of those, and some kids may go to a foreign language. So those are also part of our Explore courses as well. When they go to 7th and 8th grade, you can see right here that there's an awful lot of classes they can take. During 7th and 8th grade, 7th grade offers more classes, 8th grade even more. So as kids want to experiment more, or if they decide they want to take a pathway, if they decide they wanted to get into STEM learning, they may take more PLTW classes. If they want to get into more art, they may take more art and drama classes. It's really up to each individual student and family to decide kind of where they want to head. So we have a ton of ways for kids to get involved here at Wredling. Everything from we have apparently a lot of bassoons there. We have some instruments and band, choir, orchestra. We have kids who come and do activities that are geared towards our special education students. We have plays and musicals, just a ton of stuff. If you take a look here, here's just a sampling of the clubs we have. We have a catering club that works on culinary things, a maker club that works on creating. We have a yearbook club that builds our amazing yearbook. We have Dungeons and Dragons where you can just nerd out and have fun and do all sorts of creative role playing. So look at all those clubs. That's just a small sampling. If you go to the Wredling Wredling website, you can see more of the clubs and activities we have. So sports, people say, what sports can my 6th grader do, or what can I do at Wredling? So there are only 3 sports they can do at 6th grade. They can do cross country, wrestling, and cheerleading. After that, after 6th grade, then in 7th and 8th grade, they can do football, volleyball, boys and girls basketball, and then track and field, along with cross country, wrestling, and cheerleading. We have those available for all. So lots of sports here and activities as well. So our health requirements. So kids will often head to the nurse, but if you'll take a look there, there are some things that kids need to have to come into 6th grade. So by about the first day of school, all incoming 6th graders need to have a physical exam on file in the nurse's office. You can mail those to Wredling. That's your best bet this year, but you can also drop those off once we are out of our stay-at-home order. Then you're going to need some vaccines, and those are all listed right there. If you have any questions, you can email to Wredling, to our nurse here. Just go onto our website, look for the nurse, and you can email our nurse, Juanita Graffinsky, and she can help you out. By the end of the year, kids will need to have a dental exam by May 15th. That's required of all 6th graders. One note about coming to our nurse: some kids come down to the nurse for a variety of reasons. They come down because their tummies hurt. They come down because they don't feel good in general. They come down because they're stressed. And sometimes they're genuinely sick. So our nurses do a couple of things when they come to school. They do everything from give them a bottle of water to give them a small snack sometimes. Sometimes they have them go to the bathroom. But our goal is to get kids back to class. So you may sometimes say, why did my child get sent back to class? We do the best we can with the information we have. We want our kiddos to get back to class whenever possible. So please note that. We do the best we can with the information we have. Sometimes we're wrong, and we do send a kid back to class who isn't feeling well, and they come back and we deal with that. But our goal is to get kids whenever possible back to class, or we do call and have a parent come pick them up at some points. So our Wredling PTO, our Wredling PTO has been amazing for the past 3 years that I've been here. We've had great PTO presidents and people involved in our board and engaged there. Our president this coming year is Katie Stan. She has a great view. She's been involved with our PTO. If you have any questions, you can email Katie at info@wredlingpto.org, or check out our Wredling Facebook page or our Wredling website. On the website, there's great opportunities for volunteering. Tells about all the stuff they're doing and has contact information as well. So what do you need to know about our Wredling PTO? Well, every parent, guardian, and teacher is automatically a member of our PTO. We partner with administration. Our PTO partners with administration to assist as needed. So we sometimes manage needy families or some holiday gift giving, or kids who need some money to go on a field trip. Our PTO is an incredible support with us there. Our PTO meetings are the first week, typically, of every month. Sometimes they have to shift, but always there at 7 p.m. We meet in conference room D here at Wredling. And if you come, there's always signs. And you can find our PTO meetings on the Wredling website. So if you go onto the Wredling website and click on calendar on the right-hand side, you'll find it. You can also go to the PTO website and look for it there. So why do we have a PTO? They bring fun. They bridge the gap between what we have and what we need, and they support all sorts of special projects. We ask that every family pay an annual $20 PTO dues. That is super helpful in our fundraising efforts. If we get every one of our families, we have about 1,250 families. If we get all of them to do that $20 dues, that certainly helps a lot. So that would be great, and you can go to the PTO website and do that. We do one big annual fundraiser and then several passive fundraisers. So we do our Papa Nicholas coffee in the fall at some point. And we're going to find out a good time to do that. And then we have several passive fundraisers, which include things like eating dinner at Portillo's or at Jimmy John's or something like that. So some just simple ones that are not particularly, or sort of, just so you know, our annual big fundraiser, we push hard on that because we do use that as our target for the whole year to meet our budget. Then we have our PTO committee. So you see all those committees there. They do all sorts of great stuff. If you go to the PTO website, they are still looking for some committee members. What we've found is that when we divide this work into small chunks, it actually becomes very easy for people to do. So take a look there. Take a look at the PTO website, wredlingpto.org, and you can see what they still need help with. But we've had an amazing PTO. People who are really in it to support our kids and our staff here at Wredling. And then transition activities. So you can see the list there. I'm going to send those a couple times so you don't need to write them down. Thursday, July 30th, Tuesday, August 4th, kids come for one. They get their lockers, they walk their schedule. They're going to pick up their schedule that day. They're going to pick up locks, a heart rate monitor, strap calculators. Those are free to incoming sixth graders. Picture IDs will be taken during material pickup day, so we need as many kids there so we get their photos taken. That's their photo for the year for the yearbook, so we need kids there. We do have this great thing called WEB. WEB stands for Where Everyone Belongs. And our web activity is going to be on the Monday that school starts. So Monday, August 10th from 4:30 to 7 p.m. Super fun night. It's optional. Lots of kids come. It is a kind of hot and sweaty event. Kids run around, they have fun. They do activities led by our 8th graders, by our web leaders. And then we have activities throughout the year, but that's the date. And again, I'm going to email this all to you, so don't worry. And then we have a curriculum night set for August 26th. That's a great night to come and meet the teachers. So if you want to stay up to date on our latest news from Wredling Middle School, go to the website, scroll down. You can see that you can sign up for our daily newsletter or our Friday forecast. Our daily announcements are sent once a week as a Google Doc that updates every day. So don't delete that email when you get it. Keep it. Then you can check back to our announcements every day because it's a live document. But we also have Friday forecast, which gives you a good view of what's happened the week before and what's upcoming. So make sure you sign up for those things. And then I'm going to email to you a Wredling Middle School virtual tour. So this is really cool. Your kids or our Redhawks are going to be able to click in. They're going to be able to do a 360 view of several areas in our building. There's going to be little additional things that they can click to get more information, but it's a fun way. While we can't be in the building right now, Mrs. Cannon in our library created this 360 virtual tour so that you could feel at least a little bit like you're in our building. So make sure when I email it, you play around with it a bit. So I want to thank you, and I'm sad I can't be with you, but we know why that happens. The Wredling Middle School family looks forward to meeting each and every one of you. And if you have any questions, please fill out the form attached in the email I'm going to send. What we're going to do is we're going to create a frequently asked questions and then send it out to you all so that when we get multiple questions about coming in or different things, we have them in there. But again, as decisions are made regarding opening school, the district and myself will send those to you as decisions are made, which we have not made any decisions right now. So it was good for me to kind of see you. We miss you guys. We're looking forward to meeting you. If you have any questions, we will ask you to please use the Google form attached in the email. Have a great night.